That's really the bottom line in question. Why wouldn't you put that application in? It's not that they're not going to take you seriously, it's you're not taking yourself seriously.
Welcome to Frontline Women, a show dedicated to women on the leading edge of change and culture renewal in America. I'm Dalisia Coppersmith, and I'll be your host and guide as we explore emerging issues and opportunities for women to lead side by side with men every day. So let's get off the sideline and onto the front line right now. Welcome back, everyone. This week, I have invited an incredible guest to join us for a discussion on building and also balancing your career ambition, your plans with things like faith and values, because sometimes they can run into each other in interesting ways. And so this beautiful woman has tackled all of that and helps people like me and you, if they are hiding, if they are downplaying their gifts, 5 minutes in the room or on a call with you. And I think you change women. I honestly do. And I'm sure that you change men as well. But the topic in the audience for today is women. Kelly Bagla is an international award-winning corporate lawyer and entrepreneur. She has affectionately been given the name the Queen of Business Law by her clientele. Kelly protects high net worth individuals and business owners to ensure their wealth stays where it belongs, with them and not in someone else's pocket. Kelly was raised in England, then immigrated to the United States as a teenager. She earned her law degree, passed the bar, was hand-selected by a number one law firm based out of San Diego. She then started her own practice and several other business enterprises, which she may touch on today. She's authored 6 books, including the New York Times bestseller, Go Legal Yourself. She hosts the award-winning Biz Queen podcast, named in the top 20 business law podcasts and broadcasts in 26 countries. She's a media personality, a keynote speaker, and certainly a leader in her community. Kelly, thank you so much for being with Frontline Women today. I'm glad you're here.
It is completely my pleasure, Dalisia. I am super excited to be your guest.
I've known Kelly for, not long enough. I wish I'd been childhood friends with you, because you have a wonderful effect on me. You remind me of who I am and that my voice is important. And most people would say I don't need to be reminded of that, but you push it even further every time I talk to you. So I know I'm going to get some great things today to help me in my career and in my mission to help women. So let's just dive right in. You help businesses, usually the larger businesses and high net worth individuals. Most of the folks on this podcast are probably not in that income range necessarily, but your guidance is applicable to all of us. So let me ask you, is legal counsel really necessary for every single entrepreneur, even if they don't have $1 billion in the bank?
If you are in business, if you are an entrepreneur, doesn't matter whether you're a male, a female, or a purple dinosaur, it does not matter. If you are in business, you need to familiarize yourself with law, or better still, find a great corporate attorney and make sure that you create a partnership with your corporate attorney. Now, is it necessary for every entrepreneur to actually have a corporate attorney? What's the difference between becoming successful and trying to become successful? It could be your corporate attorney. And Dalisia, I can sit here and share with you story after story where I have consulted individuals, I've consulted entrepreneurs. And the one thing they say to me is, where have you been all my life?
I bet.
Where have you been? Some of these individuals have been in business for 10 plus years. And the fact that they haven't been sued, that's with the grace of God, really. And the fact that you haven't been sued yet, that means that you're not doing something correctly. You need to be doing something 10 times bigger than what you're doing right now. Stop with the small potatoes. Stop that, right? When you're in business, business is a massive, massive monster. It can take you and it can take your family down before you blink. So before you even start a business or go into business, do your homework, people. Even if you are in business right now, today, what is today? September 19th, right? Today is a beautiful day to look at your corporate documents and say, listen, I need help. I need someone, a corporate attorney, to come in and review my documents to make sure, one, I'm standing on a legal foundation, right, Dalisia? It's the same as you're building a home. Do you want a solid foundation to put your house on and your walls on and the roof on? It's just common sense. So make sure you're standing on a solid legal foundation, that you have the proper documentation in place, you've got the contracts that are going to help you, you have your insurances in place. Just do a review. Just do a review with your corporate attorney to see whether you're in a good position or not. And if you're not, now is the time to make sure that that position is fortified. Every entrepreneur needs to be standing on a solid legal foundation. So to answer that question, Dalisia, absolutely. Every entrepreneur needs to consult with a great corporate attorney.
No exceptions, no exceptions. For those who are not business owners, I want you to stay with us. We're going to talk about other topics. But when we look at so many other areas of our life where we buy insurance, right, for certain things because we don't want to be ruined if somebody slips on our sidewalk outside of our home, so thinking of it that way, and you can scale the amount and the cost of the legal assistance that you get. The one thing I'm hearing from you, Kelly, is that it's not optional. So if you have someone who is a solopreneur and they think, well, I have an LLC, doesn't that protect me?
That's a great question. Doesn't that protect me?
Isn't that everything? Isn't that all I need to do is
Isn't
get
that
an
the
LLC?
$1 million question, right? I have an LLC. I'm protected.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. That is the number one myth. It's a number one myth that entrepreneurs think, and they feel that they are protected because they have an incorporated entity. When I say incorporated entity, I'm talking about incorporations, both C corporations and S corporations. I'm talking about non-profits. I'm talking about LLCs. I'm talking about partnerships. So when you have a registered entity, let's just wrap it all up and call it an LLC. Well, just by having an LLC and registering your business with the state that you're doing business in does not give you the legal protection. Meaning, if you get sued, say you are incorporated, you have an LLC, and you incorporated, and a year from now, all you're doing is work, and then the next year, all of a sudden, you're going to get sued. Okay, so you're going to say, I have a LLC, so you can sue the LLC, but not me personally. Well, as opposing counsel, we would bring everyone in. We would bring the LLC in and you personally. Why? Because as a solopreneur, I know you haven't consulted with an attorney. I also know you don't have your internal documents prepared. I also know you haven't ran your LLC as a completely separate entity with its own documents. So therefore, even though you have an LLC, you did not follow corporate law, which means that I can sue you both on the LLC level, thank you very much, and you personally, thank you very, very much. I might get more money out of you personally than the LLC. So yes, Dalisia, it's incredibly important. That's why I'm saying, please consult with a corporate attorney because they can tell you what's the right entity for you. Sometimes an LLC is not the right entity for someone. And there's so many times that we have to convert. And it's okay. We can convert your entity to make sure that you are actually running the proper entity that you're supposed to run. Sometimes C corporations, which is a regular corporation and is taxed twice, Dalisia, sometimes a C corporation is the perfect vehicle for an entrepreneur. Sometimes it's the S corporation, right? That's the perfect vehicle. But you have to consult. Don't just pick an LLC and say, okay, I have an LLC now, because I have been, there's so much social media that I've kind of put out there basically saying, CPAs, stay in your lane, because CPAs are notorious for incorporating for their clients, right? They do the bare minimum. So next time, if any of your listeners actually have a CPA incorporate their entity, when they get sued, when your listeners get sued, make sure they bring in their CPA, because the CPA is going to be liable for incorporating you when they shouldn't be incorporating you, right? It's not just the act of registering your company with the state.
And that's what
in
most people think.
itself, that's what they do. That in itself will not give you that limited liability protection. And that limited liability protection, Dalisia, is basically if you have an LLC and you run it exactly like corporate law tells you to, and then you get sued, corporate law is going to say they can only sue the LLC and not you personally. But you have to run it like an LLC and what corporate law says.
And that's what most most people don't understand. And I would say most are not. And when they first start their businesses, they're not even in a position where they could. That bank account could be zero, right, on the LLC side. And so they're using credit cards and their personal funds and all. And then it's all just exactly what you're talking about. You have a vulnerability you had no idea that you had because you just thought, okay, I've got an LLC, I'm all set. I'll worry about legal problems when they happen. So let's talk about vulnerabilities for a moment. What are you seeing in terms of small businesses? And I know most of your clients are not in that category necessarily, but you are very active in the community. You help business owners like me, smaller business owners, because you're a good human being, and you will offer us some tips now and then. So what are you seeing in terms of vulnerabilities for
Vulnerabilities, I love
small
it.
business owners that they're not
Love,
aware
love that word, Delicia. Vulnerability, absolutely. My small business owners, I love you. I love all of you. I love entrepreneurs because they're the ones that really make the world go around, right? It's really the entrepreneurs. America, I love America, Delicia. I wasn't born here, but this is my home, and it is truly the land of opportunity. Truly, truly is. And if you want to do something, America is the place that you can absolutely do it. Even today, I am living my American dream right now, today. And every entrepreneur, everyone in America that wants to be an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur, should be living their American dream. Now, what's going to take away from that American dream? Well, I haven't incorporated properly, right? That's going to keep you up at night. What about if I get sued? That's going to keep you up at night. How am I going to make payroll?
of.
How
Sure.
about how about I haven't incorporated, but I have a contract? Will that work? That's going to keep you up at night. So my small business owners, right? I love you. Three things that you need to do right out of the gate. And if you cannot, I'm going to give you some options. The first thing is you have to consult with a lawyer. You have to. That consultation fee that you're going to pay, and again, the fee can be anywhere from 500 to 1,000, but you have to budget that. You absolutely have to. That's crucial money that's earmarked for legal, because if you start down the wrong road, then you've just started your entire business on the wrong foot, leading you and your family down the wrong path. And I'm assuming you don't have oodles and oodles of money, right, or cash stuffed underneath your mattress that you can start this over again. We as entrepreneurs, we're very, very careful with what money and the exposure that we put our family through. It's not just you and me anymore,
Sure.
Delicia. It's not just me, it's my family. If I choose to be an entrepreneur, guess what? I'm putting that liability on my family too. So if I can get sued as an entrepreneur, they can certainly drag in my family. So this is what you do when you first start out. Please try to schedule, keep a budget so you can consult with a lawyer. If you are able to, form the entity that the lawyer has told you to, LLC, corporation, whichever it's going to be, if you have the money. If you do not have the money, then you look towards your contracts, because your contract is going to be the one that's going to save you from losing everything personally. So in your contract, and again, your attorney can draft this for you. Please, please, please don't use AI to draft just agreements and contracts and expect AI to cover everything for you. So when you get sued, you're not going to get touched. Please have that agreement reviewed by a lawyer. I can't tell you, Dalisia, how many times I've turned people away. They've sent me something and clearly it's AI. And I said to them, I will not feel good about reviewing this and then charging you for it. I'm not going to do this. If you truly want this reviewed, go somewhere else. I can't do it because I can
So,
tell
so
you
there's,
right now, this is not worth anything.
uh, yeah. So there's no Chat GPT Esquire. There's no. No, no.
I know. No, they
Okay.
try though. They really do try, and I've seen some funny agreements. Let me tell you that I really have. And you can instantly tell. And some of these are cut and paste, and it's like, what are you trying to say here? But please, because this is going to be the agreement, this contract that you're going to enter into with your client, that's going to protect you from being sued personally. So
Sure.
if you don't have the money to incorporate, then get a bulletproof contract. And absolutely, as a small business owner, you have to get general liability insurance. It's pretty insignificant. So those three things, absolutely, that's my advice for my small business owners. Um, and when you said, probably not going to get the high net worth individuals that are listening, the I wanted to say yet, right? Yet. Your
Yet. That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
Your listeners,
And
right?
this is the time for them to hear this.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And now is the time, Felicia. Today is a great day to do something that you were putting off, right? As an entrepreneur, stop putting stuff off. I want to use other words, but I'm a lady, so I won't use those words. Stop it. Just stop putting stuff off. For example, Delicia, well, as entrepreneurs, right, we all have a to-do list, right? We have a
Long.
to-do list. I'm sure we all do. Mine's on legal paper. Mine's right here. This is my to-do list. I have to write everything down on my to-do list, and I make sure that I do everything on that, and then you can prioritize too. So that way, you're not going to forget something that's in your head and you didn't write down. Time doesn't wait for anyone. But if someone's waiting for the perfect time, they're going to be waiting forever, Delicia. There's never a perfect time. Again, today is a fantastic day. It's a beautiful day. Do what you are putting off, do it today. And also for the ones that haven't had their contracts reviewed or their corporate documents reviewed, today is a great day. Reach out to a corporate attorney, right? Reach out to several. You need to create that relationship with someone you feel comfortable with as well.
Yeah. I think there are phases too where, let's say, for those that are maybe coaches or they provide some service, they feel so relieved when they just throw something together. And I've definitely been in this boat as well. Like, okay, I really need to get something together. At least I have something I can send this, like if it's a first client or something like that. And they're so happy to just have that together. And then 3 years later, they may look at it and tweak it just a little bit, never goes to an attorney. That's a huge vulnerability. Huge vulnerability. Let's go over the three things again. So,
Yes.
setting your business structure up appropriately, choosing the right business structure. Okay, that was the first thing that you mentioned. The second,
Second was having a bulletproof contract.
yes, that was the contract. Okay, so the second thing is the
Bulletproof
business
contract. And then the
bulletproof.
third would be general liability.
And then the general liability, absolutely. So we might find the cheapest liability insurance. Do you have any? There are people that do that. They just go for the lowest rate. What do you? I know you're not trying to advise on insurance, but generally, if you're guiding someone toward their search for business insurance, what do you advise?
I would advise that you search for a business broker, not a business insurance agent, but a business insurance broker. A broker is not married to any particular company, so they're not required to push that company's product, even though it might not be the best product for you. So a business insurance broker, that person has the flexibility to shop your quote around to different companies, different insurance companies. That's who they should be looking for.
See, and I didn't know what answer you would have for that, because, or if you would want to stay away from that question, but that was gold right there. Just
Yep,
rather than just trying to compare different business insurance providers, and you don't really even know the details behind that yourself anyway. So then you're comparing on price, which is
exactly.
not the right answer. So, all right, well, thank you for that. I want to get into some other topics at this point. You have clientele that you have had since, I think, since the beginning of your practice. You have long-term relationships with clientele. Tell us your secret behind keeping those relationships strong, mutually beneficial, and advantageous to your clients, that they just keep coming back.
Delicia, my secret has to be my word, right? My word is my bond. It's really that simple. When I say to a client, I will get you this by X date, I always make a point to get them this by X date, if not sooner. I have always been available to my clients. I treat my clients as if they are the only one. And that's who I serve, because as entrepreneurs, we are in the service of others. That's what we do. We serve, right? And
That's right.
my clients, I'm very straightforward, Alicia. I don't know how to beat it around the bush. I don't have time to do that, and I don't want to charge my clients for that, right? There's no need for it. So we have a very candid conversation right at the beginning, and I talk to my clients about, well, what's your plan for the next 5 years? Take me where you want to go so I can see what you're seeing, and then we can reverse engineer and actually put the foundation together so you can successfully move forward with your business. So knowing that you can deliver on time and before time, the clients are always going to come back to you. They're going to keep coming back to you over and over again. The other part of that secret too is I'm not just a corporate attorney. I love being an attorney, Dalisia. I love it. I also am an entrepreneur, just like your listeners, just like you. I'm an entrepreneur. I have walked in your shoes for 21 years and I continue to, right? And at the same time, Delicia, I have three businesses that I'm running, right? So including my successful law practice that I absolutely love. And you have to be able to think outside the box for your clients as well, and especially with you, Talicia, you sit in a position of authority, and people come to you because you're the authority in this particular topic. You're the authority in fierce women, women in the workplace. Know, find your place, right, in the workplace. Know who you are. Keep moving forward. There shouldn't be a distinction in the workplace if you're a man or a female. There just really shouldn't. All of this should be based on merit.
Shouldn't
Right?
it?
That
Yes.
little word right there, Delicia. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right? It's
Yep.
everything should be based on merit. But when it goes to serving your clients, and you're absolutely right, I still serve my client that I started my law practice with today. And again, it's been available, keeping your word and thinking outside the box for them, and bringing it's always bringing value to your clients, right? So
Absolutely.
bring that extra piece of information. Maybe you know that they're in search of, a dog or something. Maybe you look up some sort of rescue and say, "Hey, I found this for you. Check this out." They're gonna love you. Now you're not, you become their trusted advisor, not just their lawyer. So
Yeah.
those are some of the secrets to my long-term relationships.
Can I throw a couple things in that I think
Yes.
are also factors? This is
Yes.
me projecting what I think onto you, but if I may.
Of course, of course.
There's so you mentioned, adding value in different ways that you can. There is you know yourself very well, and there is an energy to you. And people want to, we can never borrow someone else's energy, okay, but we can be inspired by it. And I can imagine that you do that for people without even realizing that you do it, or maybe but it's just something that happens. And so I think a piece of this is also really knowing who we are and adding value that is a little bit intangible sometimes, but knowing what else we bring to the table beside, for me, half of my business is working with women, but I also work with businesses on their strategy, on their succession planning, on their talent development. But here's the interesting thing: whether it is a woman who is gravitating toward me for coaching or a man, it tends to be the same thing. People feel that, I think subconsciously, they're holding themselves back in some way, or they have a lid on their talent in some way. And so it is genderless in terms of the reason that people come to me tends to be because I help them remember who they are, just like you do for me. It's an interesting little dynamic, right? And sure, they're coming to you for your business knowledge, for you your business and legal knowledge, but there's more to it. You remind them who they are. I hear your doggy. Oh, I wish we could see.
Yes.
Kelly is an avid dog lover and dog mom, and so they have in their practice 5 dogs that come to work every day. So if
Every
you
day.
because your dog is speaking up, talk about the dogs in your law practice. I just adore this and your
Of
work
course.
with dogs.
Thank you, Delicia. Yes, yes, I
Good segue.
absolutely love dogs. Absolutely love them. When I have to leave the house, and I sometimes when I do have to leave them, I'll look at them and say, "I have to go out to make some money for your bones. I'll be right back."
That's wonderful.
They're all rescues, Delicia. My husband and I, that's what we do, and here shortly. I'm so glad you brought up, or the pups brought themselves up. My husband and I, in the next year or so, will be opening our non-profit called Four Paws Resort. It's going to be a forever home for abandoned dogs, for dogs people don't want, for their senior dogs. That's where our heart lies. We're dog lovers, and why am I working so hard? It's because of them. And I really want this nonprofit to not just go nationwide, but it'll go international as well. So that's the plan for the nonprofit for
Wow.
dogs. We're going to save all the dogs.
See, this is a perfect example right here that if you have an idea and then that idea turns into a passion, a commitment, you act on it. I mean,
Yes.
how many
Yes.
people have thought about doing this, that, or the other in some area of their life that they feel passionate about, and then they never move on it?
It's so
So
sad. That
it
that
is
that is really sad.
It is. And it doesn't matter what it is. Or we think that we would have to like change careers or something. No, you can add pieces onto your life. You can explore areas that are not part of your day job. And in fact, I think that makes us more well-rounded anyway, doesn't it? I
It
mean,
does. It does. Yeah.
yeah. So dogs, we love them. I have two rescue dogs in my home right now. Luckily they're being, I don't know, maybe they're napping. I don't know what they're doing right now, but so you're not just all about business. You have a huge heart for animals as well. I know that your husband is a Marine. My husband is a Marine.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we both fell in love with devil dogs.
Yes. Exactly.
So I'm going to segue back to business now a little bit, but I just wanted to talk about the dogs for a second. When you work with your clients and well, I don't know what all settings that you end up being in. Certainly board meetings, you end up being maybe in court sometimes. Certainly in meetings for planning. When you see women operating in those environments, this is a tough question, but are there things that make you cringe a little bit now and then? Or can you give our listeners some watch outs in terms of how they might be operating and being perceived? So, with your kind of genderless, merit based outlook on the world, what are you seeing happening in those rooms where women are operating?
I'm trying to come up with just a couple of things that I can share with the
Okay.
audience.
Okay.
Now, Delicia, women in business, right, should be the same as men in business to me.
Should
Like you
be.
said, genderless, right? Now, I've been in business for over 21 years now, and I have seen in those 21 years, I have seen women business owners of all walks of life. I have seen women that are confident. I have seen women that have no idea what they're doing. I have seen women that are just following because they don't have a direction. And I have seen women just lose everything because they didn't have a support system. Right. So with women in particular, the number one thing that makes me cringe is when you walk up to someone, we shake hands. It's a way of saying hello. It's a way of introducing yourself. It's a way of knowing someone, whether you want to do business with them or not. Delicia, I base my relationships on what types of handshakes do I receive.
All right.
The types of handshakes that every entrepreneur should receive are the genderless handshakes, right? You know what I mean by that.
I certainly do.
When a man greets you and you shake hands with a male counterpart, it should be exactly the same way that you shake hands with a female counterpart. Females are notorious for giving you a wet fish.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
not a handshake. So females, please work on your handshake. That's huge because within the first 6 seconds, someone's going to make a judgment about whether they want to do business with you or not. And that's the number one thing for me is whether you're confident, because from your handshake, I can tell whether you're confident or not. I can also tell whether you're a serious business owner or not. Isn't that crazy? Just from a handshake, Delicia.
Oh, we're conveying a
Women,
lot.
work on your handshake. Work on your handshake. And the other thing that really, really makes me cringe, it's just, I just want to walk away, is when women look at me and I ask them, okay, how much for this? Their service. Say I'm going to hire them as a consultant. How much? They'll say, so and so. Is that okay? Is that so I'm asking you, are you asking me if your pricing is okay for you, that in itself is, I'm sorry, I cannot do business with. I'm very straightforward, Dalisia. It's black and white for me, right? If you're a serious business owner, I want to do business with you because I've walked in your shoes. I'm walking in your shoes every single day. And it really, really, you have to be careful with who you do business nowadays too, because there's so many charlatans out there. But the women that want to be in business and want to be taken seriously, right? You need to sharpen up your game. You really do. And I'm talking about your handshake. I'm talking about eye coordination. I'm talking about making eye contact and holding that. I'm talking about not standing on the sideline. Get in front, introduce yourself. If there's a group, you go to a networking event and there's a group there and they're all kind of huddled up. Delicia, I did this once. This was a lawyers networking event and I was pretty young at the time. I went to an event with the partner and I was just like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? And I didn't know anyone there, anyone at all. And my partner said, go network. Okay, let me go network. What I saw was there was probably about 8 or 9 men huddled up, right? They were just talking, and they had their business cards out. And what I did was I got my business cards out. I went, excuse me, made my way in. Oh, we exchanging business cards. Here, this is me, this is me. So I had the pearls to go up to this group. I don't know who they are, but they were there talking, and I said, I'm going to talk with you. But that's what it takes to be in business, to be recognized, to be taken seriously is
Yes.
confidence.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone needs to work on that every single day.
And I think when we wait to be invited, we're putting on someone else to install self-worth in us, and
There you go.
that's not their job.
There
That's
you
not
go.
their job. So it's totally fine to be introverted. One of the things that I recommend is instead of thinking of it as I have to push myself out there, this is very uncomfortable for me. Okay, those things may be true. Instead, look at it as I'm going to be curious about one person, because even introverts can do that. You can get yourself into a place where you're comfortable being curious about one person and go talk to that one person, or I'm going to be curious about what this group is talking about. And that's a perfect way for people to get over hesitation, with doing what you did, because you're absolutely fearless. Of course, you're completely fearless. Not everyone is fearless, but we can all be curious.
I
We can
like
all be
that.
curious.
I like that. That's interesting. I think the other way I would probably put it to Alicia is when even extroverts, right? They're in business. They're in business for a reason, and some people don't want to go out and talk, but you have to. And how I see it is, if you're in business, you chose to be a business owner. You chose that. You can be an employee, right? Then you don't have to talk to
and
anyone.
that's and that's fine. You can have a
Exactly.
cubicle and you can have your plant and your tea, and
Yes.
that's fine.
Exactly. But if you made that choice to be an entrepreneur and in business, then going to networking events, it's just business. That's how you see it. It's just business. It's nothing personal, right? And when you go home, you can close yourself in for the next week if that's what you want to do. But that's how I see it. It's work. You put yourself in that position. Now you're the one that has to move forward with it.
Yeah.
The other thing, Talisa, if we may bring up is I love what you had said. Instead of waiting, right? Waiting to be invited, you're waiting for someone else's validation, right?
Right. Right.
That's the
Please
other
give
thing
me
that
self-worth. Please help me feel
yes,
good about myself.
yes, that's the other thing that I cannot stand. I cannot stand that when anyone is waiting for someone to tell them that they're worth something. For God's sake, you're we're all God's children here, right? We were all born for a purpose. We should know what that purpose is, and we should be living that purpose. Alicia, I was
Yeah.
just going to go off on a different tangent, but please keep me railed in.
Okay. So we touched on this a little bit, but first impressions. Is there a second chance to make a first impression, or do you really think that when we deliver that handshake, make eye contact or not, do you think that we have really kind of sealed someone's perception of us for the long haul, or can that be improved?
People don't have time, right? It's all about time, Delicia, and again, we make judgments within 7 seconds, right?
We
I
do.
think a goldfish is 6 seconds. They have
Yeah,
six
that's
seconds.
what
Yeah.
they say.
Ours is like 7 or 8 seconds. And it's ingrained in us. That's who we are as human beings. We're always going to judge. Always. Never mind who it is, what it is. The very first thing we're going to look at it and say, okay, is this something that is attractive to me? Is this something that I want to move forward to? Is the energy something that's pulling me, right? You never ever want to get pushed into a situation. You always want to be pulled into a situation. If the energy of a person, and again, sometimes depending on the level of entrepreneurship, they can be brand new, they can be shy, they can be withdrawn, and that's okay. People, and that's fine. That's okay, because that means that you have to work on that part of you, right? You have to work on it. Now, for the people that are out there and outspoken and you know just have the sometimes have the gift of gab, right? They come from a different place as well, and don't forget that we all come from different places. We were all brought up differently, so my story isn't going to be exactly the same as somebody else's. And with you entrepreneurs, it's being an entrepreneur. Just spelling the word, it's difficult. The spelling of the word is difficult, right? So
The difficulty starts there.
it does, exactly. And actually being one and being a successful one at that, it takes work. And every day you've got to work on yourself and your business. Don't forget yourself too. You have to work on yourself. And when you're going out and meeting people, you really don't have a second chance to make a first impression.
No.
You do not. Business owners are not going to give you that second chance. They're just not going to, unless they meet you at a different place in a different venue. But the other thing to when you go into these networking events, be memorable. How many people do you meet
Good
in a
point.
networking event, right? And then you forget about them. And you have a card. The card can sit there, and you're like, who is this person? You don't know. Be memorable. For women, I love the color red. It's our branding color. So when I go anywhere, I usually wear a red dress. It's very memorable. I'm usually the only one in red. Also, it's very memorable. Or wear a statement piece, right? Wear a beautiful necklace. Wear
Yes.
something that someone's going to come up to you, and that will be your conversation starter or opener. So be memorable.
That is one thing that I admire about you as well is that you respect yourself first of all, but you also respect the importance of having um, a brand that leaves an impression, and that's not all you do. I mean, it's not just about nice clothing. So I love that about you. I love that about Melody Hobson. She's another woman. My style is nothing like hers. It doesn't need to be. Our style needs to be us. It really does matter. It's a mental marker for people because we can get 25 or 100 business cards. And how many are we actually going to put into our phone? How many of those people are we actually going to follow up with? It's very few,
If
very few.
that, if that, yes.
Okay, so we want to certainly be memorable. We want to make a good first impression. So, what about education, experience, and character? All right, all are important. We know that. Education, experience, character. Which do you think is most important?
It has to be character. I'm a huge proponent in when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Believe them because that's exactly who they are. They're not going to change. Character to me is huge, Delicia. I have prided myself with living a life where I have kept negativity out of my life and negativity out of my family's life. Being negative and being a naysayer, and I don't relate to those types of people or those types of issues, things. I don't. I've got zero time in my life for fear, for negativity, for people that lack moral character. I do not have time for that. Again, if someone's going to tell me who they are, I'm going to believe them. I'm going to believe you, right? I'm going to take you for face value because you haven't told me anything else. But when you step out of character, because your true character really comes out when you're pushed, and especially when you're in business, you're going to be pushed. You're going to get under pressure. That's when your true self really comes out. Character to me is I will sever relationships. I will walk away from millions of dollars. And in fact, Delicia, I have walked away from millions of dollars because I knew exactly the person that was sitting opposite me, and I didn't want to work with someone like that. It's instead of waking up and feeling sick because you have to work for this person. That's not the life. That's not my American dream. I do not want to wake up and dread doing what I used to love doing. So no, character for me is 100%.
Sure.
Education, you know, I have met people that have never gone to college, and they are some of the smartest people that I can have a conversation with regarding anything. And then experience, right? Experience comes as life comes to you. So you might have experience in a different aspect, such as my executive assistant, Sarah Brooks. I absolutely love her.
She's
She
amazing.
has street smarts, 100% street smarts. And me, on the other hand, I've got like 4, 5 degrees underneath my belt. I'm flipping educated to the top of the top can be.
You're
And
one of those they say is overeducated.
there you go. Yes, I'm over here overly educated, but I still learn. I still learn from Sarah, and she still learns from me. So experience isn't what I would base it on. Education is definitely what I would base it on. It's having character. You need to have a moral compass. If you don't have a moral compass and you're very, very flip floppy and you can change just like the wind, I don't want you in my life. I don't want to do business with you. That's how you treat people. I know how you're going to treat my business as well.
Well, that segues us nicely into a question I had for you. So I know that you are a woman of faith, and I know that you're also a successful woman. So business and faith, whatever that is for people, whether it is a religion or a spiritual practice that's not following a specific religion, but that aspect of our lives that is spiritual, and for you, for your faith, how has that impacted or supported? I don't know. Maybe it's been a hindrance at times. I have no idea. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. When you're looking at faith, your moral compass, and business, success, ambition, how have you navigated all of that? And what have you run into?
What I know for sure, Delicia, is that we as humans, we are pretty insignificant when it comes to the universe. That's what I know for a fact. We think that we are this, greatest and latest thing where we can create, IP and create digital stuff and create planes and do this and put a man on the moon. What does all that mean? What does it all mean, right? It means nothing if you don't have a focal point in your life. That focal point for me is my faith. That focal point, I call God my bestie.
Yeah, I've
I
heard you say
talk
that.
to I talk to God as if he is my bestie. I treat God as my bestie. So I talk to God first thing when I wake up. The first thing I say is thank you. I say thank you, bestie, for this beautiful life that you've given me. Thank you. I talk to bestie before I start my work in the office. And then I talk to bestie last thing at night time. Living a life of gratitude, it's amazing. Delicia, it's amazing. I I never leave home without Bestie. I never do anything without consulting Bestie. I Without Bestie, I wouldn't be who I am. I don't know who I would be. I wouldn't be this confident, successful woman that you're looking at today. I would not be her. So when you say faith, what role it plays in my life, it's the number one role that I live by. I live by knowing there's a higher being, knowing that that higher being has me, knowing that doesn't matter where I go, I'm always protected by Bestie. That's how I feel, Delicia. That's the energy that people see coming when I'm walking into a room or anywhere. It's that energy. It's because I walk with Bestie. That is it. That's really my secret, to tell you the truth. The secret to what I've done, what I'm doing, what I'm going to be doing with such confidence, knowing that yes, this is exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be saving the dogs. It all
Yeah.
comes through discussing and strategizing with Bestie, right? And yes, I Bestie is my number one that I stay focused on, and that's what keeps me grounded. Bestie and my husband.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. And for years, I have use some phrase like this with women that are not feeling very confident, or that tend to discount their value. Maybe they're afraid to ask for a promotion, or they say, I'm not going to apply for that position. And for those who I know have a faith practice of some kind, a belief system of some kind, I say, do you think that you should be putting a discount tag on the value that your creator placed on you? Do you go around and put 50% off this week only? Like, we should not be doing that. There's a value that is intrinsically within us that was put on us by our creator, and a purpose. So our calling and our value, what I'm hearing from you is that your gratitude is about that. Thank you for my calling. Thank you for my gifts, my talents that you've given me. And confidence comes from that gratitude for what you know you've been given and the opportunities in front of you. And so it's beautiful to hear you say that.
So this is what I read in the morning time. So when I talk to you about I'm a woman of my word, I'm a woman of faith, it's not just lip service. It's not just something I'm saying to you. I practice it. You have to practice it. Going back to the women that are saying, I shouldn't put that application in, or I'm not going to get that. They have already discounted themselves. Who are you to make that call? You
Exactly.
basically just already put yourself out of the running because you feel you're not good enough. That's really the bottom line in question. Why wouldn't you put that application in? It's not that they're not going to take you seriously. It's you're not taking yourself seriously.
Exactly.
Bring it back to you. These women that are hesitating to take the next power position in their lives, whatever that looks like, the power positions, they come with responsibilities, Dalisia. It's not just, oh, I'm going to be the manager now, or I'm going to be vice president. It's not that. They come with responsibilities. And those responsibilities, you have to know who you are, first of all. You have to know who you are. And then apply for something. You're putting yourself out because you're afraid of what? See, it's that fear factor. It's happened to me multiple times over and over and over again. If ever I feel anxiety, I just have a chat with Bestie. My hand to God, the anxiety is gone. It's
It
gone.
just dissolves completely.
It's gone. I am not making this up. It works. Create that impenetrable bond. The faith is going to be tested. Mine was tested a couple of weeks ago. 100% it was tested. But here I am with Bestie, walking hand in hand with him.
When people are spiritually starved or bankrupt, we feel it. You can feel that. And those are the types of people, like you said, you'll walk away from millions of dollars. You don't want that. You're not looking just for money. You're looking for connecting with people you can serve, and collectively you can serve the world by doing that, by connecting with a certain type of people. So thank you for that conversation on the role that your faith has played in your success and your contribution to the world. When people are climbing the corporate ladder, what do you consider to be like selling out? Because it could be that they're compromising their morals, but there could be other things. And so what are those pitfalls of selling out as you climb the corporate ladder, and what advice do you have for our listeners?
So when I first started out as a young corporate attorney, I also wanted to climb the corporate ladder. And very quickly, I realized that climbing the corporate ladder also came with the strings attached to it. So these strings were, you have to, put in more hours than you're putting in currently. You have to take on more work that you're taking on currently. You have to, kiss butt, if you will, of the partners, so they would know you, and then they could put you up for to climb the corporate ladder promotion. And as you're climbing this corporate ladder, as I was climbing the corporate ladder, I found out very, very quickly, this isn't the life that I want to live. The higher I climb, the more I am compromising my morals. I don't want to change who I am for money, right? As you're climbing the corporate ladder, there are so many obstacles as you're doing that. But when you actually get in the weeds and you find out, whoa, this is not for me. This is not something that I want to be a part of. That's when I chose to walk. That's when I said, and this is my very first attorney position with the number one international law firm in the world, Dalisia. I chose to walk from there. I chose to walk
And early in your career as well. It's not like
very
you've been
early
there
in my
for
career,
5 years. Yeah.
very early. Yes. And I chose to walk. I said, this isn't, again, when I would wake up and you have that sick feeling in your stomach,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge telltale. Listen, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something against your will. You don't want to do this. But as women are climbing the corporate ladder, the one advice I would give to them is stay true to who you are. If your values and your morals and your character are questioned and they're going to compromise as you're climbing the ladder, stop. Stop and reassess. And at that point, walk away if it's not for you.
Absolutely.
It doesn't get better.
It doesn't unless you try to change it. So there's an in between time there, of course, that we should talk about, and that is when you notice that your morals and your values are about to be compromised. There are women who just want to make the decision: do I stay and put up with it, or do I walk? And there is a middle ground for many people. Not all women have the patience or the will for that kind of an undertaking. But I ask women to try to change, first of all, to stay and try to make the difference, because often they're not saying what needs to be said. They're not bringing their perspective to the table because they know it's going to be resisted. Of course it's going to be resisted. People are enjoying the culture. It's benefiting them. So getting some help, whether it is a friend, a coach, a mentor, whatever it is, but deciding before I go, I will give this 6 months or I will give this a year, and I'm going to do everything I can to change it. Because if people were seeing what I'm seeing the way that I'm seeing it, we wouldn't have this issue. So obviously I've been positioned here for some reason, and my perspective is different. And so if I don't then offer that, make some kind of effort to change in a positive way the organization around me, then I'm denying my gifts. I'm almost denying a calling. But we at least owe it to the organizations we're in to try to make that positive change. And then at some point, if it's not going to change, absolutely know that your value is going to be sought after, in some other place that's better for you at this time. And that way, it's like the pressure is off of us. We don't have to sit there with the discomfort, the dissatisfaction, with our morals being compromised. We're not powerless. We always have choices, right?
I love that. If I may, I want to share a real life story where I actually walked. It's a client of mine. It was going to be the next biggest thing in the energy space, where we literally can take this IP can take tires and they turn it into crude oil. So we can take any type of material and we can turn that into some sort of energy or oil. And as we're a year and a half into this project, as things are unfolding, I find out that the CEO is a convicted felon. I find out that he served time. I found out that it's not just one time that he's done this. He's done this several times, and his MO is to sue people. Then he drops a suit, and then he holds it over them, and just a very, very bad person, just all the way around. I brought this to the company's attention that there was some embezzlement going on and stealing and what have you. For the first month or so, everybody was like on board. Everybody said thank you. Everybody said we've got to get rid of him. We've got to change him out. We've got to do this. I stayed on my moral ground. I stayed. This is as a I'm an officer of the court first. So as an officer of the court, it was my legal duty to bring this up if my client, which is the corporation, is getting raped, if you will.
Sure.
And for the first month, they're all fine. They're trying to find someone else. And then the CEO, because this is what he does, this is what fraudsters do, he weaseled his way back in, and he basically is saying, listen, forget about everything that I've done in the past. Forget about the money that I've stolen. Forget about all of that. We are all going to make so much money. This isn't going to even be a concern for anyone, right? So forget that. Forget that money
All
that
these
I've
little
stolen.
things.
Forget
That's in the
that, yeah.
past.
But
Doesn't
let's
matter.
continue doing business together, and we're all going to make so much money. There were a handful of them. There's only two of us, just two of us. I was one of them, and another an employee. Both of us said we're not going to be part of this. I don't want to put my name next to someone that's been a convicted felon multiple times. I don't want to have my reputation tainted. I don't want any of that. And we both walked, Dalisia. This was a couple of weeks ago. We said, listen, we don't want anything to do with him. If you guys, because you're all going to make so much money, you choose to put your morals and your ethics and your beliefs, put them aside because you're going to make money, you go right ahead and you go make that money.
That
But for
is the
right
classic
now,
selling your soul situation.
I'm
You know,
talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, Delicia. That's what I'm talking about. But no, I'm not. That's not me. I'm not. I have to see. I have to look Bestie in the eye when I see Bestie, right? I have to look him in the eye. So I choose to live as a good moral person, as someone that Bestie created, someone that's doing good work and serving people. That's who I choose to be, and that's who I'm going to be moving
yeah.
forward.
That's beautiful. And it's, you're not afraid of money. That's for sure. You're comfortable with money, but you're also comfortable walking away
Yes.
because of your moral compass. And you also have to look your dogs in the eyes too, don't
That's
you?
true.
So
That's true. I have to be the person they love every single day.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I have one more question for you. Since we're close to time for you to go on and serve your clients today, for women to build, I guess, what we could call a bulletproof career. I know I want to be careful with that because you are an attorney and there's no such thing necessarily as bulletproof, but you did say bulletproof contract earlier. When women are developing a career, whether that is as a business owner or an executive in a company, how do you think that they can build a career that is bulletproof in terms of um, other people deciding their fate? That's the specific angle of my question here, because we often think we're at the mercy of other people's um, opinions of us, other people's willingness to let us sit at the table. And so if I'm going to live my purpose, and let's say I'm a leader in a corporation, and I don't want my contributions, the level at which I will serve, to be at the mercy of other people. I want to be that bulletproof leader, that I'm going to move forward, I'm going to do the right things, and I'm going to progress so that I can make as big a difference as I can here. Maybe I want to be the CEO or a vice president of a function. How do you become that bulletproof leader or business owner?
You have to move forward in that position as if you are already doing that, and as if no one has a say over how high you can climb that ladder. You have to move forward. So you have to move forward as if you've already achieved success. When you move forward that way, people are going to, there's a different energy you bring to the table. There's a different energy that walks through that room. That different energy knows exactly who she is, exactly who she is. So if she's going to make this place better, and she feels that the other side is going to hold her down, she's just going to keep moving forward as if she's already made those decisions. Then stay true to who you are, right? Don't become somebody else, but know who you are. At the same time, you also have to know, if this is not your company and you're working for somebody else, you do have to play these political corporate games. You absolutely have to, without compromising who you are. Right? You have to understand, well, why is somebody going to stop me from doing something? Understand them, not you. You're great. No one's going to stop you. That's the mentality you have to have as a woman moving forward. No one's going to stop you. However, if he stops you, how can I overcome that? How can I win him over or her
Yeah.
over, right?
Or her. Yeah.
That's always what you're going to be thinking about when you are in a corporate setting and it's not your business. How can I win other people over? So again, move forward as if success has already been achieved, and how can I win the other person over?
Yeah, I believe in that 100%. We have to know that we are that same person. We're just a little earlier in the timeline. So we need to behave like we are that person and interact with
Absolutely.
others like we are that person. And even the people that resist us, whatever gender, whatever profession they're in, they have their own path and their own story. We all know that, and we are a learning experience for one another. So what are we going to turn that into? So I think a lot of women back away from those points of resistance or conflict they may have with someone. If we're going to interact with other people in business, and in our community, of course we're going to run up against resistance. Of course there are people who won't like us, or who, for some reason try to block our progress. And what I love about you is we can feel your forward progress. You are in constant motion forward in many ways, contributing in the community, building your business, helping your clients, helping dogs. Obviously, this nonprofit you're going to start is incredible. You are always in forward motion, and that is something that I adore about you. I feel it, and it inspires and motivates me. I hope it has done the same for the listeners today. Kelly, thank you again for being with us, and I wish you the best, both in continuing to serve your clients as you do, helping your community, and with the nonprofit for the pups.
Dalisia, thank you for allowing me to use your platform and providing some advice. And again, entrepreneurship, it's difficult, and entrepreneurs, you really need to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs and really sort of talk through the difficult things, and you can get through this. Being an entrepreneur is fantastic. I love it every single day. I love meeting entrepreneurs. And again, stay true to who you are. And the number one thing that everybody has to work on, and especially if you have, teach them confidence. That's one thing. If you don't teach them anything in their life, teach them that one thing, the confidence. It's gonna open up the world for them. The world will be a little easier for them, and you're
Yes.
setting them up for success. Teach yourself confidence, be around other people that are confident, believe in who you are, believe in that, and never ever leave home without bestie. But thank you, Dalisia, for allowing me to be your guest today. I appreciate
Thank you
you.
so much, Kelly. And everyone, have a great week. Be fearless. Always reset to fearless, because you are frontline women, and you're doing the work that we all need you to be doing out there. So do it without hesitation. All right. Have a great week, everyone.